fugitive wanted for attempted murder evaded law enforcement for over 40 years. Here's how he did it and how he was caught. It was 1982 when 35-year-old Steve Campbell decided to kill his ex-wife's new boyfriend by leaving a bomb inside a toolbox on the guy's doorstep in Wyoming. But instead of the boyfriend, it was the ex-wife who opened the toolbox, sparking an explosion that set fire to the house and the place next door. His ex-wife was maimed, but not killed in the blast. Steve was arrested for attempted murder, and while out on bond awaiting trial, he disappeared and became the subject of a nationwide manhunt in which he successfully evaded federal and local law enforcement until February 2025. Here's how he did it. Steve assumed the identity of a man named Walter Kaufman, who died in 1975 at age 22. Steve knew Walter because they attended University of Arkansas together back in the day. Using fake documentation, Steve began his transformation by applying for a passport in Walter's name back in 1984, and then continuing to renew that passport for 40 years. From there, he obtained a replacement Social Security card and an Oklahoma driver's license in Walter's name. In 2003, Steve settled in Weed, New Mexico, and bought a home in Walter's name. Eventually, Steve, living as Walter, began to collect Social Security as Walter and enjoyed $140,000 in Social Security payments throughout the years. But it was his continued renewal of the passports that eventually led to his capture. You see, the U.S. State Department has a fraud prevention unit that compares passport applications to death records, and they figured out that whoever the hell this guy was, he certainly wasn't Walter Kaufman. As the FBI and the State Department began unraveling this mysterious man's past, they saw how far back this identity theft went, but they still had no idea who he was. Either way, they knew he was an identity thief, and they executed an arrest warrant at his compound in New Mexico. When the agents arrived, Steve ran beyond the tree line of his property with a high-powered rifle wearing body armor. To their credit, the agents and the police were able to negotiate his surrender without firing a shot. And when they ran his fingerprints, they learned the truth, that Walter was actually Steve Campbell, the fugitive wanted in Wyoming from over 40 years earlier. Steve is now 76 years old and will finally face justice for the attempted murder from 1982. He's also facing a new set of federal crimes relating to his theft of Walter's identity and the Social Security fraud. He's looking at a maximum penalty of 10 years in prison for his federal fraud charges, and stay tuned for gun charges for the 57 firearms seized from his New Mexico compound, because fugitives aren't allowed to have guns. And that's the story, but I want to know what you think a fair outcome would be for Steve. Let me know in the comments, and have a great day, and be cool.